What's up guys? My name is Zach, and this week I've been driving the 2023 Lexus RCF Track Edition. Up front is a 5.0 liter V8, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be making this video because I've spent the last week driving this RCF Track Edition, and I have a bunch of thoughts to share with you in my experience with this very interesting, very cool car. But if you would like your cool or interesting vehicle featured here on the channel and reviewed by me, you can head on over to my website, zackprato.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, and you would get a video of your car, just like the one you're watching now of this Lexus RCF Track Edition. But let's get back to that 5.0 liter V8 under the hood, making 472 horsepower. Well, Lexus uses this in a couple of different vehicles. I recently had one in the LC 500 as well as the IS 500 and the older ISF. I adore this engine. I think it's a fantastic engine, and it's not quite what you would consider a slouch. Yeah, it goes. It goes and goes and goes. This engine also really likes the higher end stuff. It will pull at higher speeds. It likes to actually be driven almost as like a momentum engine, like a 4-cylinder, where you got to keep it in that up high power band. It's a really high strung V8. It really enjoys 5,000, 6,000, and that nearly 7,000 RPM red line. It likes living up there. It's just hard to get it up there all the time because you look down and you're doing a $125. The engine is sort of the centerpiece of the RCF. It's what makes the RCF special and extra lovely. MPG, right now I'm getting an average of 18 miles to the gallon in my time with the RCF over several days. That's mostly around town. I haven't really taken this on the highway too much because I'm scared of damaging the carbon fiber. So around town, 18 miles to the gallon is decent to expect. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic, and that's where it differs from the LC 500 that gets a 10-speed. And this might be sacrilege, this might be contrary to popular belief, but I actually like the 10-speed from the LC 500 a little bit better. On the downshifts, this isn't really as quick as the 10-speed, and that was a little disappointing to see. Other than that, it's been shifting and handling regular driving really, really well. It's not a bad transmission by any means. I just happen to prefer the 10-speed. Last but not least, of course, this is rear wheel drive with a limited slip differential. So how does it feel to actually drive the RCF Track Edition? This thing is aggressive and it can bite your head off if you're not super careful. Is it the hardest thing to drive in the world? Absolutely not. But when you put it into Sport or Sport Plus, mostly Sport Plus, it hands the reins fully over to you, so be ready for it. Visibility is decent, except for out of the back, because I have a giant spoiler sticking in my line of sight, which we'll talk about with the exterior. Steering is really, really good, really direct, and this does have Brembo carbon ceramic brakes at all 4 corners. These brakes are incredible. If you step on them, you will revisit your lunch. They work really well, but I also think that can be a downside, which we'll talk about with the final thoughts segment. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have several screens and only one physical gauge. Off to the right, that is my physical speedometer that goes up to 210 miles an hour. I normally think this is a little obtuse, but in this car, I almost believe it. In the center, I do get a screen, and off to the left, I have a screen as well. The center gauge screen is the tachometer and speedometer, and when I change drive modes, you will see this change, as well as putting it into eco mode, just makes the whole thing go blue. Kind of interesting there. The left screen, this is going to be your information screen, so not only up the top do I have coolant temperature, oil temperature, and fuel, some necessities, but I can scroll and change things down below depending on what I want, and I love that customization. This is a very run-of-the-mill Lexus/Toyota screen, so it's not really breaking any boundaries, but I like that Toyota gives you that option as it is. Sorry, Lexus. It's all the same house. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my skip track, volume, and mode, as well as my phone options. And off to the right, I have my selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as some selectors and some safety features. The overall steering wheel feels really, really great. It's covered in Alcantara, which I really, really love the feeling of, although this is going to wear down very, very easily, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I do have paddle shifters around the back. I think that's a nice little touch, and overall, I've really enjoyed the steering wheel. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, as well as my blind spot monitoring button, automatic high beams, and my parking button. Moving on to the door, we do have a little bit of carbon fiber, along with the power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. And moving into the center, we have the infotainment system. I don't love, but I also don't hate this infotainment system. It does have wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Here's what the backup camera looks like. Don't really love it. Although one redeeming quality is that this does have a touchscreen where the LC500 does not. Moving down below, we have the analog clock. Love the look of this. Big fan of analog clocks in cars. And then we have two climate control vents and the climate controls themselves. I really like the layout of the climate controls. They do a really good job. I get dual zone, I get auto, all of those niceties. Then I do get a CD player. Lexus still doing CD players here in 2023. You love to see it. Then we have a little cubby and we come to the center console area. Off to the left, I do have the shifter. This is the Lexus/Toyota jigsaw shifter that they've been using since the late 90s, but they dressed it up in a little bit of Alcantara and leather with the blue stitching. But down below is the dreaded and awful touchpad. I hate this, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, because it's not very exact. It doesn't work well when you're moving. It's a headache, and I don't ever want to look at this touchpad ever again. Off to the right, though, we do have some fun buttons for our drive modes. So you push it down for normal. Of course, we also have Eco, and then we have our Sport and Sport Plus. Sport Plus is gonna be very aggressive and changes the dynamics of the car quite a bit, so buckle up for that one. Then we do have cup holders. We'll do a big freaking bottle test here in the RCF. Track Edition doesn't, no. Then we do get a center console, two USB-As, as well as an aux cord, or aux input, I should say, because this car is seemingly designed 10 years ago. But then we gotta talk about the seats. So the RCF Track Edition gets special buckets that are designed to hold you in the car a little bit better. They have higher bolsters, so when you take a corner, you don't flop around everywhere. I like these seats. I think that they're comfortable. I'm a little big for them, but I have driven around people who are smaller, and they have absolutely loved these seats. So I am in the minority because I am bigger, so I can't enjoy them to their fullest extent, but they are pretty good. What's not good about them is that they are not heated nor cooled. They're power, but not heated or cooled. And I feel as though at $105,000, I should get some type of at least heated seats, at least the bottom of them or something, but Lexus does not give that to you. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. So right off the bat, when you reach back here and fold it forward, the seat automatically starts moving up. It's not very fast, but it does it automatically, so I can't really complain. You just have to hold it like that, and then you can get in, or at least try to. Ugh. All right, so I'm in the back of the Lexus RCF. I understand that this is not my most flattering angle. Don't worry, it'll all end soon. The video, not me. It's not good. This is really a two-seater. It has back seats if you have to use them. However, to the RCF's credit, I actually just took two of my friends to the remote control car store, and my friend Alex actually rode back here. Now, he's slightly shorter than me and a lot smaller width-wise than I am. So he actually fit back here, and, you know, we spent an hour in the car, and he seemed to do fine. There weren't really any complaints. So it can be done. You can put passengers back here. Definitely a lot better than like an FRS or BRZ. Definitely way better than the LC500. So are these pleasurable back seats? No, but they can most certainly be used. Let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the RCF Track Edition. There's a little button, there we go, right down there, right to the right of the camera. And once we are back here, here's my tripod, Nothing really to report. It does have a pretty decent trunk. I would say a lot better than the LC500, so that is a huge benefit of the RCF, but nothing really crazy to write home about. It's fine, it does the job. Just kind of funny with the carbon fiber wing coming up. But there's the trunk of the RCF. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and before we do a walk around, the Track Edition does get a couple special bits. So obviously you can tell this has the bigger carbon ceramic brakes and special wheels. It has a fully carbon fiber hood, roof and spoiler, carbon fiber front splitter, carbon fiber side skirts, the works. This car looks magnificent. This color is called Incognito, which is new for 2023, and it's kind of Lexus's take on Nardo Gray. Let's do the walk around. It is a very, very good looking car, amazing looking car, an exquisite looking automobile, and I love it. Walking out of the house to this car every day the last week has put the biggest, stupidest grin on my face. Just seeing it parked in a parking lot, walking out of Dollar Tree or Jewel Osco, I can't help but just feel that fizzing sensation in your jaw that forces you to smile. This car visually makes me very, very happy. And that is the biggest redeeming quality of the Lexus RCF Track Edition. But now, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this car for the last week? I want to preface this slightly, if I may. Receiving this as a press car, having Lexus send me this car to test out for an entire week, is a giant privilege. Lexus owes me nothing. I do not deserve to have a car like this for an entire week. And so I want it to be clear that that's not lost on me, because what I'm about to say isn't overly positive. Here are my thoughts. I don't know really who this car is for. And there's two things that play into that. First of all is the price. The biggest, most glaring, hovering feat over my head is the price, $105,000. Now this does have all the nice options. This is gonna be pretty much the ceiling of what you would pay for one of these. But I can't help but think that at that price point, there's a lot of other great cars on the market. And honestly, I think the LC500 for 10 grand more is a way better car. I enjoyed that car much more. That car made me smile more. That car drove better, in my opinion, for what I used the car for. And the other reason I don't understand who this car is for is because Lexus did some track-oriented things, but not all the track-oriented things. It's sort of stuck in the middle. Because a quick answer to why this doesn't have heated and cooled seats is to cut down on weight for track days. Similarly, with the carbon fiber hood, roof, and spoiler, not only do those items weigh a lot less, but now the center of mass is lower because you don't have a steel roof up high on the car. You don't have a steel hood up high on the car. They gave it carbon ceramic brakes, which are fantastic on the track. But then again, they still give you a CD player, which adds quite a bit of weight. You still have an analog clock in here. So they saved weight in some areas, but not to mention the things I've always adored about Lexus is their comfort and luxury. Well, those carbon ceramic brakes are not good on the street. They squeak. Listen. The ride is meant for the track, so it's stiff. I keep clipping my heel on the carbon fiber side skirt. The steering wheel material, like I said, feels great, but after 2 years of greasy, sweaty hands, this is gonna be matted and mangy, like a mutt. And so if it were me personally, I would do one of two things. If I was dead set on spending $100,000, I would go up to the LC500 convertible. Much better product, much better driving feel, and I enjoyed it a lot more. Or I would get a base model RCF, so you still get that engine, and I would take it out to Pennsylvania to my good friends at R&R Racing, and for $7,000, supercharge it. Get over 600 horsepower out of it while actually saving money. The RCF starts at about $70,000. Put 10 grand of mods into it, and you're gonna get a fantastic track car while saving $20,000. I will say, this car is being made in extremely limited quantities. There's not gonna be a whole lot of these track edition RCFs. So buying one of these, you buy something to be special. You buy something to hold on to and become a future collector's item. But preserving a car that is meant to be driven is like skipping dinners so you can look at moldy food 2 months later. Not to mention, I don't think many of these track edition cars will ever see the asphalt of a track. So it just sort of has that almost cosplay feel to it, where we're just pretending that it's a really good track car. And although it has the chops, and out on a track, these are fantastic, I'm not sure it will ever see an Apex or a Paddock. I hope someone buys one of these and just drives the snot out of it. Because at the end of the day, I've enjoyed my time with this car. It is not a bad car. This is a great car. There just are other options out there that I would probably pursue. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Lexus for sending me this car for the week. It's been a great week. I don't dislike this car at all. It's just not for me. But Lexus makes other fantastic products. Like I said, seek out an LC500. You will enjoy that automobile. Huge thank you to the Midwestern Automotive Media Association as well as Drive Shop, the whole team that made this review possible. I cannot thank them enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.